All right, so we have come back with another podcast kind of a video where we discuss it is unplanned because we didn't have any intention to shoot it anytime soon. We were planning to shoot a video on animation and on the future of animation, how stories can be said through animation which cannot be said through live action and writing, textual storytelling. But suddenly a controversy has come up where the animation style of Studio Ghibli has been almost copied, which people might say borrowed, but it's plagiarized by ChatGPT. And the first article that comes when one writes Ghibli style on the internet is an article by the company Mint. Is a news portal Mint where it says ChatGPT finally allows the free usage of the Ghibli style. Now the question is, who is ChatGPT to allow someone else's style to be borrowed by the public, to be used for personal pleasure? We have a guest today who is an active practitioner, I would say, of animation. He is currently working as an animator, as a graphic designer. He is my own brother, Sougata Mukherjee. And I'm sure he has witnessed the existential threats ever since the onset of AI in the market. But before we start with the conversation, which is unplanned, unscripted, I'd like to share a story. A story, a very tragic one, but I think it has got a beautiful essence to it. Uh, Dating back to 2017 is a time when my grandmother passed away. And because she was very close to our family and very close to the grandchildren, one of the most loved family members in both the families, both from the father's side and the mother's side. When she passed away, people were, every one of us, because I was very close to her, every one of us were trying to find a shoulder to find support. But in that entire tragic scene where everyone was crying, there was absolute chaos because everyone was shattering down and everyone was finding some sort of solace in another person. I found him trying to find a piece of paper to draw something and get relief. Maybe at that time I couldn't understand what is the gravity of someone sketching something on paper, but later I understood maybe it is more worthy and of more value than food itself. It sustains an artist, art sustains an artist, and there's no more truth to it. There's no greater truth than this. So I'd like to hand this over to you. You introduce yourself once, where you work, and what has been your experience as an animator so far.
Okay, so very kind words actually. My name is Sougata Mukherjee and I am an art lead of a really small studio called Create on Games. We provide game art to external clients, and also we work on games and animations and like graphic design in general, but yeah, mainly games and animations. So yeah, I'm a concept artist, animation director, and also just art enthusiast. So yeah, that is me.
Right, I would like to point out another social obligation that he has. He's also a brother. So he waited for almost 30-40 minutes because I was having dinner. And I repaid that by waiting for another 20 minutes because he was having dinner. So we are finally set to shoot the video. Before starting out, I would like to mention this because he was telling this to me when I approached him with the idea. He was saying that because he has studied in a Bengali medium school, which is very popular, and I'm sure everyone worldwide knows that school, which is the Ramakrishna Mission. He has studied there, so he was saying, I might not be very fluent with my English. So, would that be a problem on your channel? I believe language is just a form of way of communication, is a medium of understanding the other person. But I'm certain what he is going to say now about this entire controversy and the future of animation is of certain value that is based on moral and ethical grounds. Any society is based on its intellectual structure, intellectual framework, and I'm certain morality and ethics make a huge part of it. Whether it's in research or it's in animation or any sort of creation or relationship, ethics and morals play a huge part. I was thinking about it before shooting the video that there is a distinction between form and style. For example, there was a time when sonnets were very famous. So it started its lineage from Petrarch. So sonnets predominantly have got 14 lines, right? So initially it was 8 lines, and in the second stanza there would be 6 lines. So that would make 14 lines. So a lot of poets borrowed this style from Petrarch and started writing sonnets until Shakespeare came into play. Shakespeare divided it into three quatrains, like 4 lines, 4 lines, 4 lines, 12 lines, and a final couplet that makes it 14 lines. So I think form has been copied in creative ventures in art forever in history. But now the problem is the very style has been copied. It's not the form of the story or the format of storytelling. It is the style of expression that has been copied from Studio Ghibli. So, what is the entire controversy about? Is it the form of art or the style of art? Where does the problem lie?
Okay, so between form and style, so yeah, there is a very minor difference between form and style. Style is an expression of what you are going to, or what you want to communicate, and the form is criteria, or the basics, or the building structure of the style. So yeah, there is the form and style is slightly different from each other. So how it is like, by mere by the expression of style, the Studio Ghibli style doesn't only lies upon the line weight, the flat color, the overall vibrant tone and everything. It is more than that. It is the feeling, the emotion that Hayao Miyazaki wants to convey to the audience. It's not only contains with the style, but it is beyond that style also. So whenever AI is trying to mimic the Studio Ghibli style, it can mimic the line art, the flat color, the overall vibrancy and everything, but it cannot mimic the emotion. It cannot mimic the overall feeling, because if you just look into the Kiki's Delivery Service movie, so in that movie, whenever you are whenever you are going through that cityscape and everything, you can feel that city, you can smell it, you feel like you are already there. So it is the magic of the Studio Ghibli movie, because in Pixar also they tried to make movies on emotions, on complex psychological things and everything, but the Studio Ghibli movies feel more alive. So it's like that. So really short story. So when like Hayao Miyazaki, when he just wants to direct something, so he's a really crazy man. Just he has gone through so many retirements. All the time he mentioned that I am retired, I'm done, and then he comes back again to make another movie. So while creating a movie, whenever he wants to create a movie, he just he doesn't believe in scripts and everything. So before just directing the movie, or before the creation of the movie, it is not written in paper or something. It's so what Miyazaki does is he sketches up the whole thing, and in animation industry we call it storybook. But yeah, he just sketches up the whole thing with watercolor, and then he delivers that to the animators, and then they just work on the keyframes and everything. So whenever AI is creating something, AI is mimicking something, so it cannot go through that. It is not creating its own storyboard or that watercolor thing. It's not creating that. It's directly copying mimicking the existing style. So my point is, yeah, uh, for form, yeah, it can copy the form somewhat, like the basic fundamentals or the structure. It can copy, but I don't think uh, it is copying the style very precisely. So, yeah, that's the thing.
I I have this question which I am very intrigued about, that we have often heard that characters become IPs, intellectual property. That if there's a creator who has created a particular character, that becomes an intellectual property which cannot be distorted or used randomly by any other creator. But can style or form be considered as an IP? Can that become an IP?
Yeah, definitely. In many studios, they have their own IP because, like very recently, Marvel have launched a game which is Marvel Rivals, and they have a very unique style. So the style is really, really unique because in games uh, we don't witness some that kind of style in past. So it is really unique, somewhat fresh and new. So they have copyright and they have their own rights on that style. You cannot just copy that style, and you cannot just tell people that it's my own style. Yeah, you can create fan arts, you can study them, you can share it in social media, but you have to mention that it's the Marvel rival style. You cannot just tell them that it's my own style, it's my own creation. It cannot be done.
There's this question which I think for, isn't there an existential threat for individual creators who are just starting out? Because I think for a big studio like Studio Ghibli, when it is so easy and it's actually so easy for a chat GPT or maybe an AI platform to model their AIs, to train their AIs into a particular form of style, and then they can produce art randomly on the public domain. For an individual creator who is just starting out and who is trying to find his or her own style, isn't it a question on a creator's sovereignty, that I have my own style which can be copied before it gets a certain kind of establishment? Maybe today people are doing it because it's the Ghibli style, but think of you tomorrow, if you come up with a new style and you have got competitors in the market, they can easily copy it, the entire style and the entire form, just by training their own AI models. And they can reproduce to an extent where people might not be able to differentiate which is your style and which is theirs. So there is a question of originality and plagiarism. Isn't there a threat that one may not be able to establish their own style and it might get copied at the very first place?
It is a really, really good point. So, personally, I feel that fear too, because whenever I'm searching for my own style, I'm posting images and everything in social media. So there is a fear that it will be just used to train the AI model of someone else's, and they will just copy my own style and just throw images and everything and call it their own. So yeah, there is a threat. It is disheartening. It is really disheartening. And for bigger IPs, it is already there in social media, in internet. The images, their style, their thought process, it is all over the internet. So it is really easy to train AI models for the Studio Ghibli art style or the Marvel comics art style or something like that. So yeah, it is a threat. It is a really big threat, but it is how it is right now.
I was just thinking about it that um, in the romantic age, because I come from a background of literature, I'll keep connecting that with the literary movements. In the romantic age, there are a lot of poets who started writing romantic poetry at the same time. Whether it was Wordsworth, whether it was Percy Bysshe Shelley, whether it was Keats, they had all started writing at the same time, and the only commonality between all the poets was they were using forms of nature aspects of nature to showcase their own kind of philosophy. But there was a distinction in their content. The metaphors and the images used by Wordsworth are not the same that are used by Shelley. That is there, but in the sense of form, where they are using nature's aspects or forms of nature to deliver and showcase their philosophy, they all did it together. So in the case of form, they were somewhat similar, if not same. And that caused a movement that so many poets at the same time are writing poetry with a similar sort of form. So, don't you think when the Ghibli style or any style by any creator gets mimicked or imitated through an AI model, that has the potential of creating a movement that this is an age where a lot of creators are using this dominant style to tell their stories. Can't there be such a thing?
So, so let me tell you a really short story. So in India, we have miniature art in Rajasthan. So in Rajasthan, there are many artists who practice miniature art from the Mughal empires, and till date they are practicing it. So they are imitating their style. They are imitating that Mughal miniature art style, and they are just telling the story. So they are also imitating that. But the difference is the imitation is made by the humans, not by a machine. So in whenever humans are imitating something, there there must be there should be human errors. Humans cannot imitate the exact thing. Just to convey this idea, I can tell my story that I am also a huge fan of Studio Ghibli art. So I study Studio Ghibli art style a lot. So I also imitate Studio Ghibli's art style, and I also create my own characters in the Studio Ghibli art style and everything. But that's a study. If I want to create exact copy of the Studio Ghibli art style, like if I want to create the exact copy of Kiki or Princess Mononoke or My Neighbor Totoro, I cannot do that, because whenever I am creating that, there will be my language also, there will be my expression also. The lines will be a bit different because there will be my choices also. Here, as a human, I have a choice. But whenever I am just giving the permission to AI to create my artwork, I have no choice. Yeah, you can, like people will tell me that no, I am using my own prompt, I am telling AI to do this thing and that thing and everything. But still, you don't have the complete control, because you cannot control every single line of that artwork. You can tell AI that, yeah, you can add a flower vase in background, or you can just add a blue window or something like that. But you cannot tell every single detail. It will not mimic you, because whenever you are imitating a certain kind of art style, it's still you. Not, but whenever you are using AI, it's not you. You are just giving AI a image and just tell it to just create one artwork in this particular art style, and whatever it is giving you, you're just happy with that. So there is and people are really happy with that, because people are sharing images and everything all over the places. So because this is a rise of mediocrity and nothing else, people are really happy with mediocre contents and everything. So like your just to conclude your question, that it should create an art movement, like people are expressing their own story, or people just telling their own story by the help of a similar art style. Do they? they don't want to tell their stories. They just want to follow a certain kind of trend, and they are not telling their stories in that style, because in our industry, the industry is really small. People who really want to tell their stories, they don't really imitate, they just create something new. Yes.
I have got two follow-up questions, very interesting ones from the content that you spoke. There is a very formal way of writing which has been going on from the ancient times. In the ancient literature, we see a writer is invoking to the muse that I'm going to start something and please guide my hand into writing this entire play. In maybe in Greece and in Rome, it was the muse. And in India, like Sudraka would invoke to Saraswati, please guide my hand while I pen this play of Mrichakatika. So I have a very personal interpretation that muse sits in the process. Like when I have started to create a form of art, in the process of it, maybe there would be ideas constantly intruding into my mind. Some I'll reject, some I'll accept, some I'll interpret, some I'll implement. And in that process of rejection and acceptance, we find our own style, which is the muse helping us by constantly putting ideas in the process of making an art. So maybe we'll start with doing something, but by the time we end a piece of art, it turns out to be absolutely different, because in the process there were so many ideas that were coming to us. At times we were accepting them and at times we were rejecting them. In the process, the muse comes to us and we find our own style. This muse, in a very psychological way, can be called the flow state. Like in the process, we are having a bombardment of ideas in our mind and we are constantly changing. But that is not the case with AI, because there is a prompt and there's a result and there's no mean time to think or change. So, do you really think that these ideas of a muse or a state of flow, uh, can they exist in a world where AI is taking over creation of art?
No, a straight no, because I have already faced it. So, another story. Uh, like I'm a really good story person. So, yeah. So another story is when I work in my own office environment. So, in business sectors, in the creative industry, uh, AI is now a thing. So we need to use AI because in commercial industry, what people want or what the business persons want is like the deliverables or the art contents. It must be delivered in a particular period of time, in a very short time. It need to be delivered. So we need to create art contents, we need to create art assets as soon as possible, as early as possible, because there is a deadline for everything. So in games or in animations, and also in game animations, because there are animation videos in games also. So in games in general, we have deadlines because we need to appear in every event, because we need to we need to provide offers, and we need to provide characters and units and everything in Valentine's Day, in St. Patrick's Day, in Chinese New Year and everything. So we need to deliver it fast. We cannot take a long period of time. Okay, so we need to deliver it as fast as possible. So in the commercial industry, for betterment or not, I'm not sure, but AI is a huge thing right now, because people have seen already that we can do it very quickly. It will not be a huge artistic piece, or it will not be a character like Mickey Mouse, because Mickey Mouse is a pretty popular character with a pretty uh, unique character design and shape language. But yeah, it is somewhat good. So it is like okayish, and it is okay to deliver it. But for that creation also, what your question was, that the muse, the flow state, and everything. I have seen this already because whenever people are creating one character, before using AI, what was the process? So the process was we search a idea or culture or a certain thing in Pinterest or Google or something, and we create a mood board. And from that mood board, we just fetch references, fetch information, and we create the thing. And while searching for a certain idea, we encounter some other idea. Because when we are searching for, let's say, I'm searching for, I just want to create a character who is a hunter, and I'm searching for deer skeleton, the skull. I'm searching for it, and by the time of searching, or while searching it, in the search results, I saw some other references, and I saw something like a bear skull or a wolf skull, and I found that interesting. So at that time, I made a choice or a decision to no, I'll just move to the wolf skull, not the deer skull. So in AI, it is not happening because what I am just observing right now is when people are just going to create a character, they search for it. They just give a prompt, and whatever AI is providing, they are happy with that. The exploration part is completely diminished by AI. It is not there at all. The exploration is not there. People are not exploring ideas. They are not just okay. So here we have one idea, and then we have this idea. I think this idea is more interesting. So the storytelling enhances by this process of exploration. But in the case of AI, it's not happening at all. We are just giving AI a prompt like just create me a hunter with again that deer skull. I'm not at all aware of that wolf skull right now because I'm not searching for it. I'm just giving it the deer skull, and it is just providing me the hunter with the deer skull. So the exploration part is completely gone. Yeah.
The next question would be something that is very personal to me, and I have faced it myself. That every single individual has got their own journey of life. They have their own experiences, they have their own sets of memories, and they have their own sets of trigger points, right? They have their own vulnerabilities. So, all of them combined, it is not something that can be measured through any parameter or any scale, but somehow there's a mixture of all their life experiences that find expression through their style. So, someone's style is integrally someone's own, which is made for someone's own storytelling, for their own stories to be told. They are in absolute sync with their own stories, and it's magical how if I have a story to tell, I can only say it in the truest form through my own style. But if I'm copying someone else's style, it's almost like taking away a part of their selves. So do you really think that consent becomes a huge thing here? That if I'm taking a part of someone else's being, I should at least ask once that can I take it? Can I borrow it to tell my own story? Even if it's not in sync, because the pictures that are being generated through the AI model of Studio Ghibli design, they're not in sync. they do not mean anything. The style and the content, they have such disparity that there is no meaning in it. But the stories that perhaps Miyazaki's stories that were being told in that particular style, or that might be told in future in that particular style, will be in sync with the content, because those are his stories, and someone's story requires the same person's style for its proper expression. Do you really think one can borrow someone else's style to tell their own stories without putting a bit of themselves in it?
Okay, so just to answer this question, uh, the question is like, can anyone just borrow somebody else's style and tell their own story? So for that you need to have a story to tell. Right now, what is happening is people are just following the trend. They are not at all want to tell their stories, because there are multiple AI art of Studio Ghibli style, of that Bhul Bhulaiya scene of Chote Pandit, and like the DDLJ scene and everything. So they just want to they just want to see, they just want to watch the particular movies what they like in that Studio Ghibli style, because that style is so unique that people just want to what I can say is they just want to আমার টার্মটা মাথায় আসছে না ডিকোড সরি আবার যাচ্ছি আমি So the Studio Ghibli style is so unique that people just want to decode the style. They just want to watch their favorite movies in that style. So borrowing the style. So the context is borrowing the style. So they are not borrowing the style, and the consent part, I'll just come to that. But before that, borrowing the style. So the before AI, there are certain people who just imitate someone else's style and everything. They just do it for their own fun and everything. But is that borrowing, or is that a study or a tribute or something like that? So if you are paying tribute to the certain artist or that certain studio, that's different. You're tributing, you're just creating your own characters and everything. But whenever you are just using it for I'll not say minor things, but you're just using it for fun, and you are just delivering some misconceptions and everything. Because whenever people are watching something in Studio Ghibli style, they also think that it is from Studio Ghibli style, who are not aware of that AI thing. So the idea is in the market, because I have a really junior candidate in my studio, and he mentioned me that day that, hey, did you heard that Ghibli is making a remake of DDLJ? And I was like shocked. It is not possible, because most of the Ghibli movies are based on Japan. So why they will just make a DDLJ remake? So no, I just heard that, and I have just seen the first look of it, and then I'm also shocked. Then why, like, why the hell Studio Ghibli is doing that? Then I got to know for the first time that there is this thing in ChatGPT which is responsible for converting the images in Studio Ghibli style. So people are getting the wrong idea. They are getting the idea that Ghibli is making those images, but it's not. So whenever people are using ChatGPT for making their own images or turn their own images into Studio Ghibli style, they are not taking any consent at all, because ChatGPT didn't take any consent from Studio Ghibli. They just feed Studio Ghibli images to train their AI model, and boom, there it is. It is ready to serve you. But I don't think it is a really good practice, because in between this AI and trend and everything, I think the artistic integrity is somewhere gone and lost. Yeah.
If the legal aspect is taken away from this controversy, that Ghibli has a particular intellectual property over their style, and all the films that are being made or that have been made under their studio banner follow that particular form of style. If the legal aspect is taken out of it, is it really unethical for an individual sitting in any part of the world to use that style and make a photo of their own, generate a photo of their own for their sheer pleasure? Is it really unethical or immoral for an individual? Should an individual critique himself or herself for doing it?
Um, this is a question. This is a really, really difficult question to answer, because I don't want to offend anyone. But the thing is that no, it is not that much unethical in that sense, because you are just doing it for your own fun and everything. But you know what is unethical is you are supporting AI. Because whenever you are just using ChatGPT or Midjourney or something, and you just want to create you just want to turn your own images into Studio Ghibli style, you're supporting it. You're supporting that company, that they have done a really good thing by creating that AI model of Studio Ghibli. So you are supporting the plagiarism. That's it. Because if we don't support, if normal audience or in general audience don't support the whole AI thing, or they just totally ignore the whole trend and everything, then I think they will, the chat GPT or the authorities of the chat GPT, they will receive a message that people are not loving it. They will just stick to the actual Ghibli style or the actual Ghibli studio. So yeah, we are supporting that. We are supporting the plagiarism and everything, and yeah, that is not unethical in some sense, but yeah, in the wider scale, it is.
Don't you think that if Studio Ghibli files a legal suit against OpenAI, it would at least form a reference point that no matter how influential or wealthy an AI company is, in the near future they won't be able to train their AI models in a particular style and put it out in the public domain for individuals to use for their own pleasures. Don't you think a reference should be made? If Studio Ghibli files a legal suit, it will at least create a reference if they win, that no matter how influential an AI company is, they won't be able to mimic someone else's style without consent in near future.
Yeah, they should file something legal to the AI companies and everything, to OpenGL or ChatGPT, something like that. They should take legal actions, because it's not only for the Studio Ghibli, it's not only for Miyazaki, it's for all the audiences involved, all their emotions, their feelings, their sentiments. I think they should provide some respect to that, and they should take things seriously and just take some actions legally. And because if they take an action, like they are a really big company, so, and they are really powerful also. So if they take any action, and if they won, if then it will be a miracle. So the small companies, small studios, they will have hope that okay, and it will create a reference that yeah, they have done it and they have taken uh, the matter in their own hand, and they have taken some steps also just to stop the plagiarism.
Is there any way that individual creators who are just starting out, or perhaps they're trying to find their own style, can safeguard their art in any way against the tide of AI, against the tide of AI training and everything?
I don't think so, because you cannot safeguard it, because in Instagram also there is this algorithm right now, and they have also mentioned it in their latest patch note that they will use the photos and videos shared on Instagram, and they will use them to create their own AI model and train their own AI model. So Meta is constantly doing that. So whenever you are creating art, it's we are in this society right now that if we are creating something, the only way to communicate with audiences and like-minded people, that we will share that thing, share the image or share the video in social media, and hope that it will get recognition. So there is no other way, because in past what we did is we just share our images, share our art creations in galleries, but that is very limiting. In when the social media is available, there is too much limiting, and there are too much limitations over there in galleries and everything. So we need to share it in social media, and whenever you are putting your art creation out in internet, then it is, you cannot safeguard it. That's the harsh reality right now. You cannot. It is not only applicable for images, it's also applicable for poetry, it's also applicable for videos, videography, cinemas, everything. So you cannot safeguard it.
No, there's a question which might slightly digress from the topic, but I think it is important to ask this. For an artist, it is very important to produce art and express oneself. And when there are limitations and threats of plagiarism, threats of disintegration of this very field of expression in near future, how does one remain sane? Like when you are creating something that may get plagiarized, the job that you're doing might get terminated, the art that you have aspired to create, the people that who have inspired you, they're all at risk. How does one stay calm and continue creating art? Because art's integral pleasure, animation's integral pleasure are many. I'm sure there are many. It can be used as a tool of war, it can be used as a tool of expression, but there are people who use it, and I'm sure that you are one of them, who create art to make this world a little better a place to stay in, a little more beautiful, a little more aesthetic, a little more pleasing to live in. How does one remain sane to do this in a world that is going through almost an apocalyptic change?
Okay, how someone can remain calm and sane is a really, really short answer: just by creating art. Because, on the first place, when I, when me, and I know people, and most of the artists, on the first hand, when they started to create art, it's not because of recognition, it's not because of storytelling or anything. They started it because they loved it, and they love it till now. That's why they are doing it. So how to stay calm and how to stay sane in this apocalyptic change is just by creating the art. Because whenever I am feeling a kind of, you know, trouble inside me, uh, distress or something like that, I just create something. I just do my sketches, I just doodle, I do my gesture drawing, practice, and everything. It calms me down. So, people, yeah, by creating art, or when you are doing it professionally, there is a craving of recognition, and there should be a craving for recognition. But that's not why we started. We started because we loved it, and we will continue. If AI just take AI in future, if AI take over the whole thing, they just create movies, they just create animations, art, graphic design, website, everything. Still, artists will do their thing. They will create. They will create their own art. They will create their own characters because they loved it. Because they love it, and they hope that people also love it. People will found something. People will find something similar. People will just connect with the similar emotion.
I think at times answers might sound simple, but simplicity is hard to achieve. The answer reminds me of a scene from this very famous film called 83, where by surprise India has reached the finals and Kapil Dev himself couldn't believe it. I'm sure he was there to win, that's what he said to the journalist, but when he reached the finals and he was looking at the Indian flag being raised at Lords, he was thinking, how can I take the pressure? How can I remain sane? How can I remain calm amidst this overwhelming pressure that India, a team that was least expected to win even a single match, has reached the finals, and they're playing against the best team of 1983, the West Indies. Kapil Dev's wife relieves him by saying, Kapil Dev, in that moment of pressure and overwhelming anxiety, should remember why he started it. Maybe Kapil Dev as a child started playing cricket because he loved it and it gave him pleasure. That's the reason he started it. And I think for every professional who's doing something out of passion and love, they started from a place of love. And maybe that's how it is. Maybe let's not change that answer. One should just create art. The artist should just keep creating art in order to remain sane and calm. If there's two last questions. One is, if there's, I'm sure, and you're also very young, you're just 25, but if there's an aspiring artist who's yet not in the field and wants to come in with all the threats at hand, what would you advise him with? Don't come? What would you tell him?
So, yeah, that's a simple answer. Don't come. But uh, yeah, if if uh, if I want to suggest, uh, if someone aspiring artist who just wants to jump into this industry and just make a career out of it, uh, I just want to suggest that just love your craft, just do whatever you love the most, and keep practicing. Just polish your skills so much that AI can't also beat you, because there are limitations. If you just study AI, because you need to just to defeat your enemies, you need to study it. So study AI. Just know their limitations, what they cannot do, because there are many things AI cannot do also. Because if I just tell AI to create a very abstract thing or very specific thing, it cannot create. It will create a somewhat generalized thing, but it cannot create a very specific thing, which is completely, you can say a very goofy idea or something like that. It cannot create, but you can create. You can create a person with a head of, you know, toilet paper, let's say. You can create that, but AI cannot, because it is not there in internet. So so the ideas which are not already existing in the internet, AI cannot create that, because it is just imitating. In future, probably they will create also, but still, if you have a really strong foundation and really strong skill, then I think you will not struggle, because if you are really good at something, then no one can defeat you. This is my belief.
And the last question is there one thing that individuals can keep in mind before they subscribe to the Ghibli art style imitations? Is there one thing that they should remind themselves before they generate their own images in the Ghibli style?
As we are discussing about the Studio Ghibli art style, so I would like to request everyone who are just creating the Studio Ghibli art style images by AI. I have I have noticed that many of them didn't watch any Ghibli studio movies. So I would like to request them to just watch them. They're absolutely stunning movies. And if you are an aspiring artist, just just go through the art of books. Let me show you something good. So this is the art of book of Kiki's delivery service. And I was just mentioning that before creating the movie, what Miyazaki did is, what Miyazaki does is, he creates storyboard or like watercolor images of every scene. So these are the watercolor images of every scene before the creation of the whole movie. So all the things are there in this book. This is the art of Kiki's delivery service. So there is a art of book for every other movie, for Kiki's delivery service, for Ponyo, for My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke. Just watch them and go through their art of books, and it will enrich you, enlighten you in many aspects, in storytelling, in the visual language, in animation, in storyboarding, and everything. So yeah, that will be my suggestion for the day. Whatever AI is doing, it is just imitating. It is not conveying any emotion. It isn't conveying any story or feeling or anything like that. So just keep it in mind that whatever you are creating by the help of AI, it will not feel alive. Rather than, if you really want to create something in Studio Ghibli art style, just pick up one pencil and just try it. It need not to be the most perfect piece of art, but it will be something, and it will be, I'm telling you, it will be more precious than that AI thing or that AI art. It will be yours. It will be a collaboration between you and Studio Ghibli, not Studio Ghibli and AI. Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone. Just it is a really good conversation with my brother. I am a really camera shy person, so I don't know how I delivered all the things. But yeah, I am a really huge animation enthusiast. So I really love to watch animation movies from my childhood, since my childhood. So yeah, just want to convey this idea that let's uh, make these animation movies uh, or keep these animation movies alive in our mind, uh, not through AI but through our emotions and feelings. And let's just keep continuing. Let's just keep making art by our own and express our own ideas in our own style. So, yeah, I think it will make the world a better place to live in. And also, thank you so much for staying with us and hear us talk about the animations and everything. Yeah, over to you.
Right. Thank you to everyone who joined us till now. It's a long conversation. I'm trying to build a community and a channel where we love to discuss things at length in an age where we try to find solutions in an instant and we try to find solutions in shorts and reels. This channel is dedicated for long format conversations. And the final thing which I would like to say, coming from a background of literature and storytelling, I would say that one should find one's own muse. It's very individual, it's very personal, and it's very subjective. One should not take away someone else's soul as their own. Style, art, and creation are extensions of someone's being, and one should ask at least once before taking it away. So, thank you very much for joining us. There's no need to subscribe to this channel, just whenever you need something and you want to listen to something that is related to art or literature, you might just visit the channel and look across the videos if you find something interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.